Chosen one, this is not a coincidence. You didn't just click on a video, you stepped into a divine appointment. Heaven has aligned your timeline with this exact moment because something sacred is awakening inside of you. This is not entertainment, it's an encounter. You are standing at the edge of a supernatural shift, a kairos moment where heaven's clock and your destiny finally synchronize. The Spirit of God is moving, and your name is on what's being released. Every delay, every silent season, every closed door, they were all part of a divine setup to position you for what's about to unfold. Chosen one, this is the season where divine relationships, financial breakthroughs, and supernatural transfers collide. The windows of heaven are open, and favor is finding your address. As it is written, "Eye has not seen, nor ear heard, the things which God has prepared for those who love Him." You are one of them. The evidence is in the timing of this moment. Heaven has called your attention because it's time to receive what has been waiting in the Spirit for you. Take a breath, open your heart. Your confirmation has arrived. Chosen one, listen carefully. Purpose doesn't expire just because feelings fade or years have passed. What God spoke over your life still stands firm in heaven's record. When God says now, everything that once seemed still begins to move again. You may have tried to close that door, to reason with your heart, to tell yourself that chapter was finished, but heaven never locked it. The connection you feel is not emotional nostalgia, it's spiritual recognition. Something eternal is stirring again. You've tried to let go. You've prayed, cried, and convinced yourself you were done. Yet somehow their name surfaces again, their presence lingers in your thoughts, and their energy revisits your dreams. That's not weakness, that's divine design. God often hides His greatest alignments behind delays, detours, and divine disguises. What feels like an interruption to you is orchestration to Him. What feels like loss is often heaven's repositioning. I've walked through that kind of season myself. I know what it's like to question whether you misheard God, to sit in silence and wonder if you're holding on to something He already released. But in the quiet, I learned that distance is not denial, it's development. Separation is the soil where revelation grows. God was refining me in the waiting, stripping away pride, purifying intention, and expanding faith, so that when the promise returned, I could handle it with maturity, not emotion. And, chosen one, He's doing the same in you right now. Divine connections don't fade in silence, they mature in it. The delay isn't punishment, it's precision. Heaven is preparing both of you, aligning purpose, mending wounds, and strengthening your spiritual backbone so that when your paths cross again, it won't just be a reunion, it'll be a recognition. You'll recognize each other not merely by face, but by spirit. When that moment comes, it won't feel forced or uncertain. The timing will be exact, heaven's fingerprint visible on every detail. The conversation will flow with supernatural familiarity. The air itself will carry peace. And in that moment, you'll understand every unanswered prayer, every closed door, every lonely night was leading you right here, to the intersection of divine timing and purpose. Chosen one, the reason you feel that pull so deeply is because your spirits have known each other beyond time. Every meeting, every glance, every memory reawakened something ancient within your soul. A promise, a mission, a destiny intertwined before the foundation of the world. This was never about romance or coincidence. It's about purpose. Two destinies carrying matching blueprints of heaven's design. But be wise. Not every intense connection is divine. The enemy loves to imitate the energy of heaven to create confusion. That's why discernment is your shield. When it's God, it won't feel chaotic, it will feel clear. When it's divine, you won't feel drained, you'll feel elevated. When it's heaven sent, you won't feel uncertain about your worth, you'll feel called higher. I've learned something powerful, chosen one. The people God sends into your life don't flatter your ego, they awaken your anointing. They don't pull you away from purpose, they push you deeper into it. Their presence makes you pray harder, dream bigger, and believe again. Even without speaking, they remind you of the version of yourself that God saw long before the world told you to settle. Chosen one. The reason you're hearing this message right now is because heaven is confirming what your spirit already knows. You're not imagining the signs, they're divine rehearsals, prophetic previews of what's about to align. Heaven is preparing your heart for the moment of release. Expect the unexpected, because what's coming next is not repetition, it's revelation, and what's being released will activate your destiny. Chosen one. What happens when God allows someone's presence to awaken your spirit? This isn't about attraction or the thrill of being noticed. It's deeper. It's sacred. When God connects two souls for divine purpose, something shifts in the atmosphere. Without a word spoken, your spirit feels a vibration, a recognition, as if heaven itself just whispered, "Pay attention." You see, there are people who make you feel comfortable, and then there are those who make you feel called. The difference is holy. When the right person steps into your life, you begin to remember who you are in the spirit, not the version molded by pain or fear, but the one God designed before time began. Their presence doesn't flatter your ego, it stirs your purpose. I've experienced that kind of moment before. I wasn't expecting it. I was just living my life, praying quietly, trying to understand what God was doing, and then someone entered my world, and suddenly my focus sharpened. My dreams came alive again. I began to pray with fire I hadn't felt in years. That's when I realized, when heaven assigns a connection, it's not emotional stimulation, it's spiritual activation. Chosen one. Some people come to comfort you, but the one God sends comes to commission you. Their energy carries divine frequency. When they walk into the room, the air changes. You think clearer. You speak bolder. You start aligning with what heaven has been waiting for you to remember. That's why you can't explain it. Because it's not natural, it's supernatural. But I must warn you, this kind of connection won't always feel easy. It's not designed to feed your comfort zone, it's designed to elevate you. The person God sends will challenge you, not through judgment, but through the quiet conviction their presence brings. They'll remind you to pray when you want to give up. They'll push you to grow when fear tells you to shrink. Sometimes their silence will speak louder than their words, because their spirit carries authority that resonates with your destiny. Chosen one. This is not chemistry. Chemistry fades. This is covenant activation. When two souls aligned by heaven meet, their energy doesn't compete, it multiplies. You both begin to operate on a higher spiritual frequency. Your prayers carry more power. Your discernment sharpens, your faith strengthens. That's why the enemy tries so hard to create distance between the two of you, because together you are unstoppable. This is kingdom alignment. You are not meeting by chance, you are meeting by design. The same way iron sharpens iron, this connection sharpens your faith, your focus, and your fire. Don't resist the stretching. It's making you stronger. Chosen one, you are stepping into a new level of awareness. The connection you feel is not to distract you, but to develop you. Heaven is using this person as a mirror to reflect back to you the version of yourself that hell hoped would never awaken. And in the next revelation, you'll see why even time, silence, and distance cannot break what heaven has already written. This is not a fragile bond, it's eternal. Chosen one, listen closely. When God authors a connection, it cannot be broken by time, silence, or distance. What is born in the spirit cannot die in the flesh. It doesn't dissolve, it develops. The bond heaven designs is not fragile, it's fortified through seasons of separation and waiting. The world may say that love fades when people drift apart, but divine bonds are not governed by human logic. They breathe through faith, they grow through surrender, and they are strengthened by stillness. God allows distance not to disconnect you, but to refine you. He uses silence to sharpen your hearing, space to strengthen your discernment, and delay to deepen your trust. What He joins by purpose, He preserves by process. I know that kind of silence. I've walked through nights when it felt like heaven had gone quiet, when I questioned if the peace I once felt, the connection I once knew, was only my imagination. But deep inside, there was a whisper that wouldn't leave. Be still. I'm not finished yet. It took time, but I finally understood. The pause wasn't punishment. It was preparation. God was healing both hearts separately, so that when reunion came, it wouldn't be emotional, it would be eternal. Chosen one, absence is not the end. It's the classroom where faith matures. In the quiet, you learn what love looks like without constant validation. You learn that proximity is not proof of purpose, obedience is. You learn to believe even when nothing around you seems to agree. Heaven uses distance to detox your spirit from dependency and replace it with divine confidence. Maybe you've felt it. The years have passed, yet your spirit still recognizes them. A song plays, and your soul stirs. A dream comes, and their name echoes softly in your spirit. That's not weakness, chosen one. That's divine memory. Heaven never forgets what it has authored. You're not clinging to the past. You're carrying a promise that hasn't yet unfolded. When God forges a bond, He builds it to survive deserts, delays, and storms. Even when misunderstandings cut deep, something sacred remains untouched beneath it all. That's not obsession. That's prophetic endurance. Because you're connected not by emotion, but by assignment. You were never tied together by preference. You were joined by purpose. The distance you've endured wasn't meant to break you. It was meant to build you, layer by layer, moment by moment. Every unanswered prayer became a foundation stone. Every tear watered the soil of destiny. Every closed door redirected you toward the right one. Chosen one, your story is living proof that what's truly yours doesn't need to be chased. It just needs to be trusted. The world measures love by how close someone stands to you, but heaven measures it by how faithfully they pray for you when they're far away. The one God chose for you isn't bound to your routine, they're bound to your calling. And that's why time couldn't erase them. Because buried things in the kingdom aren't dead, they're planted. Chosen one, something you thought was finished is about to bloom again. What was buried in silence is about to break through in purpose. The season of divine alignment is here. Heaven is reconnecting what was refined in the dark. Stay watchful, because this connection was never about romance, it's about revival. Heaven is aligning two missions that will shake the earth. Chosen one, here's the revelation. The person God chose for you doesn't come to make you comfortable. They come to make you complete your calling. They are not sent to fill your loneliness, but to fuel your purpose. Some people enter your life to ease your pain, but the one sent by heaven enters to awaken the warrior inside you. When this kind of person appears, your spirit recognizes them, not because they match your preferences, but because they mirror your purpose. They stir something inside you that refuses to settle. Suddenly, you begin to dream again. You pray differently. You stop playing small. Their presence pulls you higher, not by demanding it, but simply by being who God made them to be. Anointed one, understand this truth. Divine connections are not meant to make your life easier, but to make your spirit stronger. They won't always tell you what you want to hear. Sometimes their very existence confronts your comfort zone, but that's the beauty of kingdom alignment. It stretches you toward who you were destined to become. I remember a season when someone came into my life, and without a single sermon, my spiritual fire reignited. I began to see clearer, pray harder, and walk bolder. They didn't rescue me, they reminded me. And that's what the right person does. They awaken the version of you that heaven wrote before pain tried to rewrite your story. Chosen one. The one God sends will never compete with your destiny. They will complement it. Their energy won't drain you. It will direct you. They won't enable your excuses. They will challenge your faith. When you're tempted to shrink, they'll remind you of your calling. When doubt tries to drown you, their words, or even their silence, will push you to rise again. You'll know it's divine when being around them makes you love God more, not less. When their presence pulls you toward your purpose, not away from it. This is not human chemistry, this is covenant activation. When two flames are joined by heaven, they don't just burn, they illuminate. You'll begin to sense divine synergy. Your prayers feel heavier, your discernment sharper, your peace stronger. And here's the mystery. This connection might not always look romantic. It's not about fairy tales. It's about faith. God uses this kind of bond as a bridge to move you from where you are to where you're meant to be. Even if they don't walk beside you forever, their influence will never leave your spirit. Chosen one, when someone doesn't let you settle, when they provoke you to grow, sharpen you in spirit, and remind you of your divine DNA, that's not a coincidence. That's heaven at work. And in the next revelation, you'll see the final truth, that your missions are not separate, they are intertwined. God is merging your callings for kingdom impact that will outlive both of you. Stay with me. What comes next will show you why heaven's timing has been so precise. Chosen one, let this truth settle in your spirit. God doesn't align lives just for emotion. He aligns them for impact. Before you even met this person, heaven had already written the script. The timing, the meetings, the separations, even the misunderstandings, all of it was part of a divine choreography. Nothing was wasted. Every pause had purpose. Before you knew their name, heaven already knew your connection would carry generational weight. This isn't about completing each other emotionally. It's about completing an assignment spiritually. God didn't bring them into your life just to make you happy. He brought them to make you holy, whole, and prepared. Together, you carry a divine blueprint, two callings, two destinies, perfectly designed to unlock what neither could open alone. Chosen one. When heaven intertwines two missions, it's not thinking about temporary comfort. It's thinking about legacy, about chains breaking, families being healed, and territory being reclaimed for the kingdom. That's why this connection feels different. It's not just chemistry, it's covenant. And covenants carry responsibility. I've walked through a moment like this. I remember asking God, why does this connection feel so heavy, so sacred, so tested? And He whispered, because it's not about now, it's about forever. Every trial, every delay, every distance was shaping both of us into the kind of vessels who could handle the oil that heaven was pouring. That's what He's doing for you too, chosen one. You see, the areas where you are weak, they are strong. The dreams you were afraid to pursue, they carry the courage you lacked. And where they feel broken, you carry healing. Heaven built this bond not as a dependency, but as divine interdependence. Together, you form something powerful, a spiritual force field. Your prayers amplify, your victories multiply. Your testimonies merge into something that shakes the atmosphere. Chosen one, that's why the warfare has been so intense. The enemy doesn't attack what's ordinary, he attacks what's prophetic. The more resistance you've faced, the clearer the confirmation. The battles weren't meant to destroy you. They were meant to prove how strong heaven's hand is on you. This is not a casual connection. This is a kingdom alliance. You and this person are part of a larger plan, one that carries eternal consequences. That's why heaven didn't let it manifest prematurely. That's why the timing has been so frustrating. God refused to unite you until both of you were healed, humbled, and aligned. Anointed one, heaven is about to bring divine collision. Two paths refined in silence are about to merge with purpose, and when they do, the alignment will be unstoppable. You won't have to force it, chase it, or question it. It will simply flow, because heaven's timing never misses. Stay tuned, chosen one, because in the next revelation, you'll see why all the waiting, all the pruning, and all the hidden seasons were never wasted. They were preparing you for the release that's about to unfold. Chosen one, when heaven finally brings two divine assignments together, it doesn't happen quietly, it happens like a holy earthquake. You feel the tremor in your spirit before you ever see the evidence in your life. The air begins to shift. Suddenly, what once felt delayed starts to accelerate. What once confused you begins to make perfect sense. The same prayers you whispered through tears begin to manifest in strength. This is what divine collision feels like, when heaven's timing intersects with human destiny. For so long, your life and theirs may have been running in parallel, same direction, same faith, same calling, but separate lanes. And then, without warning, heaven merges your paths. You don't need to force it. You don't need to chase it. The peace around it will speak louder than any sign. Every conversation feels like confirmation. Every silence carries weight. Every meeting feels orchestrated by an unseen hand. Chosen one, this kind of connection is not random. It's not born of human desire. It's born of spiritual architecture. Heaven is constructing something far beyond what your mind can calculate. What God is joining together is not just a relationship, it's a revelation. You and this person are not simply companions. You are a move of God. Two vessels chosen to carry a shared mantle, to heal, to rebuild, to awaken. Your union becomes a living prophecy, written to impact lives and unlock generational doors that have been sealed for decades. When the alignment comes, everything will move with supernatural precision. Ideas begin to flow like rivers. Favor starts to chase you. People are drawn to your light without knowing why. Your prayers hit deeper, your worship feels heavier. Together, your faith multiplies results. That's the power of two callings agreeing in the spirit. The synergy creates acceleration that no man can explain. I've seen it, chosen one. When God joins two people for kingdom purpose, their anointing doesn't just grow, it expands. The overflow touches others. The energy becomes contagious. This is not about romance. It's about revelation. This person doesn't just love you, they mirror you. They reflect your strength, your assignment, your identity in God. You'll begin to understand why every other connection fell apart, because this one carries destiny, not distraction. But hear this, anointed one. Divine partnerships come with divine pressure. The higher the calling, the heavier the testing. The enemy doesn't waste his energy on shallow connections. He only attacks what carries eternal significance. You'll face spiritual warfare, moments of doubt, seasons of silence. But don't let it shake you. Heaven is not punishing you. It's perfecting you. God is refining what hell cannot corrupt. Remember this truth. God never rushes masterpieces. He shapes them in secret. Every delay was divine design. Every detour was disguised protection. Heaven wanted to make sure that when you finally stand beside this person, you're both whole, healed, and unshakable. And when it finally happens, it won't feel like striving. It'll feel like coming home. The peace will roar. The confirmation will be undeniable. The purpose will be unstoppable. Chosen one, this is not an ordinary union. It's a holy legacy in motion. It's the fusion of anointings that will carry heaven's heartbeat on earth. Stay tuned, because what's coming next will show you why the wait was sacred and why what God is preparing for you is too powerful to fail. Chosen one, now that heaven is aligning what once seemed impossible, you're beginning to see the full picture. You're realizing that none of it was random, not the meetings, not the distance, not even the pain. Everything was perfectly designed to prepare you for this divine unveiling. What felt like loss was really layering. What felt like silence was strategy. What felt delayed was destiny's calibration. The person God chose for you is not coming to start a romance. They're coming to reignite a revival. Your union is not just about two hearts finding peace. It's about two purposes merging into one heavenly assignment. That's why the waiting has been so intense. Heaven has been orchestrating this connection with surgical precision, healing wounds, maturing faith, and ensuring that nothing could contaminate what was meant to be pure. I've walked through that wilderness myself. I remember thinking, Lord, have you forgotten me? But I learned that divine silence is not abandonment, it's protection. God wasn't ignoring my prayers. He was anchoring my foundation. He was building something inside me that storms couldn't shake. And when he finally moved, it was sudden, complete, and glorious. That's the kind of moment you're approaching, chosen one. When God brings this connection into full alignment, it won't feel like striving or chasing. It will feel like divine rhythm. You'll look back and realize that heaven had been conducting this entire symphony the whole time. What once caused anxiety will now bring peace. The person who once felt unreachable will reappear, not as they were, but as they were called to be. Chosen one, your story is not about two people finding each other. It's about two missions finding agreement. Heaven is merging your testimonies, your gifts, your battles, and your victories into a force that will echo for generations. That's why you couldn't quit. That's why the connection refused to die. It wasn't emotional attachment. It was prophetic endurance. And here's what you must know. When God joins two assignments, it doesn't just bless the individuals, it transforms everything around them. Families are healed, communities shift, atmospheres change. The light you carry together becomes an invitation for others to believe again. This is what it means to be chosen for divine partnership. But don't forget, this connection is sacred. Guard it with humility, protect it with prayer. It's not meant to be displayed for applause, but to be stewarded for purpose. Heaven will trust you with what you're willing to protect. Anointed one, take this to heart. The same God who kept you through years of pruning is the same God who will now position you in places of promise. Every season has been leading here. Every test has been building trust. Every delay was heaven's way of saying, not yet, but soon. And that soon is now approaching. The wind is shifting. Heaven's release is near. Stay expectant, because in the final revelation, everything will come together, and you'll understand why the story had to unfold exactly the way it did. Chosen one, this is the sacred moment where everything begins to make sense. The waiting, the silence, the tears, and even the warfare, none of it was in vain. Heaven was never punishing you, it was preparing you. Every lonely night, every unanswered prayer, every door that closed in your face was not a rejection, it was redirection toward this divine unveiling. You've reached the turning point, the divine intersection, where heaven reveals what your heart has been sensing all along. It had to take this long, it had to stretch this deep, it had to refine this much, because what's being birthed through you now carries eternal weight. This connection was never just a story of love, it was a prophecy written through your obedience. God wasn't testing your patience to see if you'd wait. He was teaching you how to discern His voice through the silence. He wasn't withholding the blessing, He was strengthening your capacity to sustain it once it arrived. Every push, every pull, every season of uncertainty was heaven recalibrating your spirit. Because this was never about emotion, it was always about assignment. Chosen one, you were never simply waiting for the promise. You were being shaped into the promise. The person God chose for you has also been in their wilderness, stripped of pride, purified by fire, learning to hear heaven's whisper above the noise of the world. And now, heaven is speaking clearly. It's time. The alignment is here. I've witnessed how God works in divine patterns. He moves quietly, then suddenly. He hides the preparation so that the manifestation shocks every onlooker. One day, you're asking if the story is over, and the next, you find yourself standing in the manifestation of what you once only prayed for. And when it comes, you won't need to ask for confirmation. Your spirit will know. Peace will speak louder than explanation. Stillness will testify louder than words. Chosen one, understand this. The warfare that surrounded this connection was not coincidence. It was confirmation. The enemy doesn't waste energy on what's ordinary. He attacks what carries divine potential. He saw what this union could unlock: a portal of light, a channel of healing, a testimony of restoration. And he panicked. But what is sealed by heaven cannot be stolen by hell. What God ordains, no opposition can cancel. The bond that was buried is about to bloom. The delay that once broke your heart is about to deliver your miracle. You will soon see that every detour was divine direction. And when the promise unfolds, it won't be a recycled chapter, it will be a resurrection of destiny. This isn't a repeat, it's a rebirth. Chosen one, hear this prophetic truth. When God unites two people for a kingdom purpose, their union becomes eternal testimony. Together, you become living proof that heaven still writes stories, still redeems lost time, still restores what seemed beyond repair. This isn't the end of your waiting, it's the unveiling of your calling. Now, heaven invites you to respond. Speak it with boldness. I recognize the signs. I receive divine alignment. I am ready for what heaven has prepared. When you declare those words, you aren't just agreeing with destiny, you're activating it. Chosen one, this is your Kairos moment, the appointed time. Walk in faith, move in obedience, trust the unfolding, because what's been written in heaven is now manifesting on earth. And this time, it's unstoppable. Chosen one, this moment right here is not a coincidence. It's divine orchestration. Heaven has aligned your spirit with this message because you've reached your Kairos moment, the exact time appointed for awakening, restoration, and release. Everything you've endured, every silent prayer, every unanswered question has been leading you here. You are now standing in the flow of divine transfer. What was once delayed is now being delivered. What was once hidden is now being revealed. Anointed one, this is your confirmation. Heaven has moved your name to the top of the list. The same God who carried you through seasons of isolation is now opening doors that no man can shut. A supernatural exchange is happening. Old burdens are lifting and new blessings are descending. You are not waiting for breakthrough anymore. You are the breakthrough. So stand tall, walk in quiet authority, guard your peace and move with expectancy. The oil on your life is increasing, and every step from here carries divine momentum. Speak life. Give thanks. Stay aligned, because heaven is pouring through you in ways that will bless generations after you. And if this word resonated with your spirit, seal it by declaring in the comments, I receive divine alignment. Share this message as an act of obedience. You may be the vessel God uses to awaken another chosen one. Go forth now, favored one. Heaven is with you, and what's been written for you will not be stopped.